Hi there, this is garyryanblair, and today I've got a great message, a time-sensitive message you definitely want to hear. It's all about how do you avoid becoming obsolete. See, there's no such thing as job security anymore. The clock is no longer ticking, it's screaming. The robots are coming, check that. The robots are already here. And they're getting smarter, they're getting faster, and they're getting stronger, and you've got to realize they want your job. It's not a question if you will become obsolete, but when, on what date. See, the world we live in is constantly changing, is rapidly changing. The stakes, well, they're higher than ever. There's no such thing as job security. I repeat, there is no such thing as job security. We're all faced with full-fledged revolutions on multiple fronts, and there's no end in sight. Nothing is sacred. All rules, they're being rewritten. No country or currency, no industry or profession, and certainly no company or individual is safe. Each one of us is vulnerable. We're all in the crosshairs, and no one has your or my back. Hyper-competitiveness, relentless and ongoing challenges, disruptive technologies, blockchain, artificial intelligence, mass consolidation, and robotics are occurring at warp speed, and it's only going to accelerate. So what can you do about it? How do you stay in the game and remain competitive in the age of exponential technologies? Is there anything that you can do to prepare yourself for being made obsolete? Well, I've got great news for you. The answer is simpler than you might think, and that is, you need to stay a student. So let me explain. What I want to do is I want to explain to you how becoming a student for life is the smartest move you can make. See, growth, self-development, and the ongoing quest for mastery ends only when you run out of time. You are and you will always be a self in evolution. Learning ability, intellectual capital, knowledge, and technical know-how are all intangibles. But these intangibles are among your most important assets, as everything that you do to reinvent and to update your knowledge allows you to stay in the game and to competitively perform. See, people work much more with knowledge today than they do with skill. Knowledge and skill have many similar characteristics. However, it's the dissimilar characteristic that we must focus on. See, the truth is this: a person's skill set changes very slowly over a long period of time, but knowledge empowers its own change. Knowledge of what some might call intellectual capital is unique in that it's designed to cannibalize itself. In a very short period of time, knowledge makes itself obsolete. I'm talking about it makes itself a relic and a great example of yesterday's strength becoming today's liability. Lifelong learning rests upon the twin principles of personal development and social service. The social, economic development, and ultimate survival of a country, of a company, and a community is increasingly dependent upon the knowledge and the skills of its citizens in this global knowledge economy. And those who have the lowest levels of skill and the weakest capacity for constantly updating those skills will find themselves unable to compete and most likely unemployed. Therefore, it's imperative that everyone commit to becoming a student for life, as the knowledge you currently possess is not sufficient for capitalizing on future opportunities. See, learning continually throughout your life is vital if you're to make informed choices about your life and the societies in which you live. Something new is always occurring, as significant shifts in industries and technologies and policies require serious interrogation and much deeper understanding. And this is only possible through a commitment to lifelong learning. And it would be foolish for each one of us to ignore the call for lifelong learning as we discover more, certainly not less, need for new knowledge as we make progress. Lifelong learning, I'm talking about staying a student, when rightfully interpreted, can have no endings and is as inseparable from normal living as food and physical exercise. It must be supported and encouraged throughout the course of life as a fundamental discipline that is always going to be enforced. Lifelong learning must not be regarded as a luxury for a few exceptional persons here or there, nor as a thing which only concerns a short span of our early formative years. But lifelong, ongoing learning must be looked at as a permanent national necessity. I'm talking an inseparable aspect of citizenship, and therefore, it should be both universal and lifelong. See, a commitment to lifelong learning is more than just education and training beyond formal schooling. A lifelong learning framework encompasses learning throughout the entire life cycle. I'm talking about from cradle to grave and in different learning environments, formal, non-formal, and informal, both individually and organizationally. The case for lifelong learning with knowledge creation as its primary goal is of fundamental importance. Propelled by the competitive imperatives of speed, of global responsiveness, of disruptive technologies, and the need to innovate constantly or perish, learning will be the essential hedge against extinction. Knowledge and skills are perishable, both because they're not applied all the time and because they can become outdated. And in order for your life to be vivid, to be strong and creative, it demands constant reflection upon experience and a healthy appetite for new knowledge. A failure to accept this reality and attend to the rigors of ongoing learning, I promise you, that spells disaster. The only true certainty is uncertainty, and the only sure source of true, lasting competitive advantage is going to be found in knowledge. The ability for you to learn faster than your competitors may indeed be the only sustainable competitive advantage, and that's a point worth repeating. The ability for you to learn faster than your competitors may indeed be the only sustainable competitive advantage you have. It's that important. See, when markets shift, when technologies proliferate, when competitors multiply in products, when they become obsolete virtually overnight, successful companies will be those that are constantly creating new knowledge, who disseminate it widely throughout the organization, and who quickly embody it in new technologies and products. In short, ongoing success will come from ongoing learning. And for learning to be effective, we all need to be good and serious about knowledge generation, appropriation, and exploitation. See, old cultural and psychological habits and paradigms, they die extremely hard. And challenging obsolete assumptions can expose critical discrepancies between external reality and internal mental models. It is these gaps that provide much of the creative tension and dynamic energy that drives every learning initiative. What I want to do right now is provide you with the 8 hallmarks, the 8 prerequisites of lifelong learning. Now, this list is an ambitious one. Perhaps it's not even fully attainable, as lifelong learning is a journey with no end in sight. But the conscious pursuit of learning, just like excellence, is what really counts. So the first is intellectual curiosity. I'm talking about a passion to understand the changing forces swirling around you. It's an eagerness to learn them faster and a recognition that learning is an unending journey. And the second is humility. I'm talking about a pervasive acknowledgement that no one can have all the answers, and you must have a willingness to learn from others. The third prerequisite is self-criticism. Now, this is a logical extension of humility. It's a constant questioning of conventional wisdom and a keen awareness that success invariably sows the seeds of its own failure. The fourth is a tolerance for ambiguity, for complexity, and for change. An acceptance of the fact that change is an inherent reality. You've got to thrive on change. You can't allow yourself to be intimidated by its rough nor its unpolished exterior. The fifth is experimentation. This is a willingness to try out new approaches, to monitor the results, and to incorporate the feedback into new initiatives. 6, 7, and 8 is a hunger for feedback. I'm talking about a genuine eagerness to reach out and to get performance feedback from a variety of sources, along with a willingness to listen to it and to make the necessary changes. And the seventh has to do with failure. I'm talking about viewing experiments as desirable, as mistakes as inevitable, and failures as offering the raw material for success. Learning is more of a product of failure than it is of success, and that is why it has to be a prerequisite. And finally, number 8, it's all about creative self-destruction. See, no advantage lasts forever. That's why you must render yourself obsolete before others do it for you. And it is the price that world-class innovators and competitors gladly pay for staying ahead of the pack. See, lifelong learning provides you with opportunities for you to continue to expand your capacity to create the new results that you truly desire. And perhaps the most important thing you can do for yourself and your future is to know your strengths and to focus on them. And to know your strengths and your natural talents, to know how to improve them, and to know what you can or cannot or should not do. These are the keys to lifelong learning. Without a doubt, staying a student for life is the most strategically compelling task to which everyone should dedicate themselves to. And while it's an asset that will not be reflected in any balance sheet or profit and loss statement, but by making it count, it automatically becomes competitive collateral that you can use to compete and, most importantly, to win in the age of artificial intelligence. That is how you